which is going very well in regarding time schedule. Then Antonio García Benlloc is going to do his presentation on import and treatment of complex data by means of gvSIG and Postgis. He is a technician in Betera, and he has been showing his work in the City Council.
Okay, thank you for your introduction. My name is Antonio García. I am a cartographic engineer. I work for the Council of Betera. The association is always willing to know about new developments, new layers loaded up on the system. So they always invite us to come. So I'm going to talk about the importation and integration of data into the system. These are the contents of my presentation: introduction, type of data administered, data treatment and acquisition, treatment of the information, and, well, as has been the case, this poses problems. I'm also going to talk about cadastre data treatment or processing and the uses of cadastre data. When you process information, you always need to have a technician, geographic information system technician. I am the technician in my department, and I'm responsible for collecting information and pave the road for others to reach higher levels. But at the end of the day, the product needs to meet national conditions, national directives, and international ones. In my presentation, I will show you the sources of data, the places they come from. You see author photos here, different formats. All this is imported from gvSIG and then saved and stored. Scanned images like this one. All this is imported and incorporated into the website for many different purposes. I'm going to show you how to produce reports. In the Council, we are frequently asked for very detailed reports, which can be either easy or complex. For instance, imagine a citizen who comes to the Council, to the town hall, and says, look, this is a piece of land which belongs to me, my plot. I want to see the actual boundaries. And then you draw the photographs, and you see that in the former cadastre, there used to be a path here, a way, and it no longer exists. So, in theory, the way should still be there. So the citizen is right, and he's paid for compensation or whatever due actions. So you obtain the scanned photographs from the cadastre, and then we do the geo-referencing, and we then superimpose the cadastre of a previous period, back from the 1970s, so we can spot the differences and compare them to the current situation. All this information is then sent for updates to be completed, or this type of drawing, and then it can also be published on the website. This is the master plan, and all this has been migrated. Data type. Well, same formats again. Data taken in the field. Sometimes, if we have electrical lines, new electrical lines overhead running over a piece of land, we ask for all this information from the corresponding parties. So topographic work is also done. Data acquisition. Data come from many different sources. And here we have a list of sources such as the Historical Archive of Valencia, the Cadastre of Valencia, a property registry. The Valencian Cartographic Institute provides us with orthophotos or other pieces of information as well. The Environment Department, the National Geographic Institute, and other departments from the administration of the region. So we try to identify any geo-referentiable information. The local police, for instance, needs to have a lot of information quite frequently. They need to have the details, the planning, the urban planning behind a piece of land, for instance. So all these pieces of information are entered into the system. I don't have the time to show you the viewer in my presentation, but we have permission to upload different layers and for editing different data. Information processing. This is a real picture. When I arrived in my office for the first time, I found this paper bin. And I told my staff, please put it away, because when a citizen comes, they always want to unfold these rolls and have a look at the paper drawings. So on the right-hand side, you see the papers all scanned in much better condition instead of paper drawings. In fact, they were very old drawings, and paper ages badly. It gets deteriorated easily. And the last bit of work is geo-referencing with more than 130 sheets. And if a person wants to have very specific information, such as the demarcation of a plot, we have all data available. CAD formats or CAD systems, CAD formats. We can see a lot of things from these images. You select the layer you're interested in, and then you can export it to see the polygons. But it's not that easy, actually, because there are a lot of details, a lot of information concerning land uses, right-of-way, etc. And now we see the transfer on Postgis. The colors in this case must match the original appearance on the web viewer, because it's a color code. We want to avoid mistakes on the master plan, and those existing mistakes, need to be reflected too. All these elements in AutoCAD have no attributes. If you click here, however, you can see the land use and all the details. If you click on farming land, you get access to the official gazette, or if you click on this other area and it is an army base, you will get information on NATO documents and references. Jesus Pla talked about this morning, boundary stones. On the right-hand side, we see one of those big stones, boundary stones. There are more than 100 in Bétera. And, well, the technology used at present is very, very good. You can take the references and corroborate all data. Last week, I took the measurements in a whole residential estate because things didn't match with drawings in the council, in the town hall, sorry. So we did all the surveillance work and we then created the drawings for the whole residential estate using the dots. So gvSIG has no problems whatsoever. And lastly, I would like to show you a more difficult subject, cadastre data. On the left-hand side, we see a thin format sheet. Each line has 1,000 characters and it covers a plot of land or an area. It is quite complex, a set of data. It is gross data. On the one hand, we have the whole information, but on the right-hand side, we can see the different files is a shapefile. So what do you do with all these files? The thin format database is transferred using a program to finally end up with a number of tables. These tables don't have geometry, they are just databases. And these are the results. These are the shapes, the shape files. They all have a dedicated use, but it takes some time to get the hang of them. Because they don't have the cadastre reference, you have to do your own investigation, your little research. But it does apply differently if it is urban planned or farming land, etc. This is the shapefile for farming land use. But as you can see, there are roads, buildings, and as in previous gvSIG versions, Vetera has 65 square kilometers, but all the mistakes have now been corrected and there's no problem at all. I mentioned the cadastre reference before. In fact, now there is a field, a common field between shapefile and the other databases, so you can combine all the information and bring together this reference with the other columns. I'm going to give you a very simple example. The plots, farming land plots with the cadastre reference and the crop uses, crop types information. I'm going to combine both. This is my column with 14-digit cadastre references. You can have up to 20 digits. For the plot, you only need 14, but for any property on the plot, you have to use 20 digits. This is the list of plots with their cadastre reference and the crop use, in this case olive trees. If you bring together those two tables and you come up with a caption with the use function, you can have all the crops in the area, which is very straightforward way. But now let me show you, well, I don't know if I can show you because it didn't work yesterday when I was preparing it, but yeah, it's only the text. Right, you can take the cadastre owner list and combine it with the plot list. What's the problem here? There is not a single owner for each single plot. In actual fact, an owner could have 300 properties or 200 properties or 2 pieces of land, as it's only logical. But I thought I could cross both databases on Postgis to use the geometric common field and combine it with the database without geometry. By doing that, I can have a database of owners with the geometry of the plots. What use is this? Well, uses abound, as many as you can imagine, actually. You can combine tables and end up with multiple potential uses. Let's see if I have another example. Basically, let me show you this big area here. It is a farming property in red on the left-hand side. Well, you can draw data, cartographic data, but it is too big a plot. But so it might not be no use for us, but it could be useful for the police if they know that that piece of land is owned by this or that person and there are 3 houses on it. So mission accomplished. And it doesn't take that long to upload the layer. We also thought of having the citizens register. So you know this person lives on this or that street. If you combine the cadastre register with the inhabitants register, you know where each individual person lives, or how many people share a flat. And then you do the frequency on the basis of the plot or the area. So you can work out, or you can find out that 35 people live on this or that block. Population studies can be conducted on the basis of this information. For instance, how many people under 25 years of age use bus number 8, or how many people can be catered for in a particular health center, for them not to have to come into Valencia, for instance. This has been done for Altura, another town. Populational studies. This is another example. It could be used for marketing purposes, you know, to work out the number of people per block. And these are my conclusions. The potential of gvSIG together with Postgis is very high, even more if it can be combined with web publication using map server and pages and websites developed on PHP, Ajax, JavaScript. So the potential is huge. The programming language potential makes the system very useful. A multi-user viewer has been developed with web edition and upload and download of documents. And in my development, I have allowed editing as well. You saw in my presentation all data types could be loaded or uploaded, AutoCAD, CAD data, and with this you can create new projects based on data which were initially unprocessable. So you can combine different databases and really make the most of all this information in generating not one project, but 20 interesting projects. That was it from me. Thank you.
Bien, fantástico.
Wonderful. Do you have any questions? Well, so take care at the City Council of Federa. That's the only thing I can tell you. If nothing has, if nobody has anything to add, I think that we have been really good with the administration of time, and we still have 20 minutes left. But unless somebody from the organization says something against, I think we can close the session and come back.